Hello, and welcome to this week's edition of the Good 5 Cent Cigar Newscast. I'm Nora Kelley. Thank you so much for joining us. This week, we look into flu clinics, federal order updates, and Rhody Line-Dancing. And of course, David Okula will have all things Rhody athletics covered in this week's Rhody Sports Corner. For our top story, flu season is back, and it's important to keep yourself and others safe. Eliza White shares insight on how you can stay safe this flu season.
Fall brings much to celebrate, but it also means the beginning of cold and flu season. I'm outside of URI Health Services to discuss just how important it is to get your flu vaccine. Medical Director Dr. Chris Nason tells us that flu cases can happen all year round, but they particularly pick up between October through January.
The most effective way to prevent or mitigate flu symptoms is to get the vaccination, right? So, and every year we can expect to have a flu season.
URI students live in communal living, which means that we're all working together, living together, socializing together. And so if one person gets sick, it is very easy for everyone else to get sick.
In past years, between 100 and 200 students were vaccinated per clinic, but Health Services is always hoping for higher turnouts.
So if you could go on to Health Services website, we have all the clinics listed and you could register in advance, put your insurance information in there, and all the clinics are going to be in the Memorial Union.
Dr. Nason says that though the vaccines are 50% effective in preventing the flu, if you contract it, the severity and length of the virus will greatly decrease with the vaccine.
I would say get your flu shot now. Get it as soon as possible. That way you're done. You don't have to worry about it. You know, I promise you we will be in a high prevalence time before you know it, and it'd be great to already have your immunity lined up.
Wash your hands regularly, definitely before eating, and then trying to keep your hands away from your face. Try not to share things like lipstick or drinks or any vaping devices. When we share items that go into our mouth, that also spreads germs, so try and avoid doing that. And then taking care of yourself. Don't let yourself get run down. So get those 8 hours of sleep that we want. Try and eat nutritious foods, things with high in vitamin C.
If you have any questions about the flu clinic, please visit the URI Health Services website. I'm Eliza White with a Good 5 Cent Cigar. Back to you.
Thanks, Eliza. Next, Casey Chan-Smutko shares a federal orders update.
Hello, this is Casey Chan-Smutko with this week's Federal Order Report. On November 22nd, URI Communications announced an update about preparation for the possibility of a government shutdown. To prepare, congressional lawmakers had to pass spending legislations that would fund the federal government by September 30. As URI receives federal funding for land and sea programs, this poses an impact on research projects. These possible effects could be more pronounced than previous grant cuts due to uncertainties and new research and staffing arrangements in the federal government. All URI offices are keeping up to date with changes from federal portals. Researchers will need to limit grant funding contracts only to salaries and essential activities such as animal care costs, field work in progress, and instruments that can't be shut down. For more information about federal updates, go to the URI Federal Actions website. This has been Casey Chan-Smutko with the Good 5 Cent Cigar. Back to you.
Thanks, Casey. This week, the members of the Good 5 Cent Cigar set out to try Rhody Line-Dancing. Here's Eliza White on the dance floor.
I'm outside of the Memorial Union's Atrium 2 with the Rhody Cigar to dance the stress of the first semester away with some Rhody Roundup line dancing. Come with me. Tonight's line dancing opened with an introduction about the Rhody Roundup Line Dancing Club by President Jordan Medeiros and Vice President Harper Knapp. Our instructor for the night was Jessie Stundis, who introduced herself and began each dance with a preview.
So we started off with Church Clap. That was probably our most beginner dance of the night. That one had no tags and no restarts, so we just kept going all the way throughout the dance. And then we went to a bar song, also known as Tipsy. That dance did have one tag in it, which was pretty fast, but we got through it. Again, another beginner dance. A tag is going to be a pause in the dance. It can be anywhere from 2 counts, 4 counts, even to 32 counts. It's where you put in your own styling, or there's a step sheet for the steps that you do. And then we went into Crank It Up, which was probably our hardest dance of the night. That one had a tag and a restart. And then a restart is whatever wall that you're facing. You're just going to restart the dance from the very beginning on the same wall. And we did a great job doing it, though. That was awesome.
We just finished up our last dance for the night. I'm Eliza White with a Good 5 Cent Cigar. Back to you.
Thanks, Eliza. Looking ahead, here's what's going on next week at URI. Get ready to move to the music on the URI Quad. Health Services will be hosting a Zumba dance event today from 5 to 6 p.m. On Friday, the Rams take on Brown for the annual Governor's Cup match. The game will be held at Centerville Bank Stadium from 7 to 11 p.m. Students must purchase a ticket to attend. On Monday, Pink Women will be hosting a Stuff a Pumpkin fundraiser event from 12 to 3 p.m. in the Memorial Union Atrium 2. To find more information about upcoming events on campus, head over to URI Involved. With that, I'll hand it off to David Okula with this week's Rhody Sports Corner.
Thanks, Nora. Hello and welcome to the Rhody Sports Corner, your place for all the latest updates across URI athletics. I'm David Okula. Men's soccer hosted Stony Brook on Tuesday as the Rams were in search for their first home victory of the season while also trying to snap a 3-match losing skid. In a back-and-forth battle, the Rams used a goal in the 79th minute to secure a 2-2 tie against the Seawolves. Gerard Villemenay has the story from the URI soccer complex.
The University of Rhode Island Rams men's soccer team faced off against the Stony Brook Seawolves at the URI soccer complex on Tuesday night, where both teams managed to get out of the game tied at 2 apiece. The Rams and the Seawolves had a very competitive first half, as both teams couldn't get the edge on each other until the 35th minute, when fourth-year Seawolves midfielder Yoda Kono scored the first goal of the night. Rhode Island entered halftime down 1-0.
No, I think we knew we had to play with a little bit more urgency and, attack, play forward a little bit more. In the first half, we played a lot of side to side, had a lot of possession, but really didn't threaten as much. In the second half, we played forward a little bit more and had plenty of chances to score goals.
In the second half, the Rams capitalized on those chances as first-year forward Kyler Vovic scored twice in the second half, first in the 61st minute and later in the 79th minute, after Kono scored again in the 70th minute.
Honestly, it's amazing, it means the world. We faced a lot of adversity today, so I'm very grateful to get 2 goals, and yeah, it's a good start to the season. We faced lots of adversity this season, but I'm happy to get 2 goals to help my team tonight.
I think we played well. We created some chances. Again, we didn't concede late in the half this time, which is good. But no, I think we moved the ball pretty well, created a lot of chances overall tonight, and again, didn't really. It's never a good time to give up goals, but didn't give up any goals at bad times per se.
Reporting for the Good 5 Cent Cigar Rhody Sports Newscast, my name is Gerard Villemenay. Back to you.
Thanks, Gerard. As for some other scores and results around campus this week, football suffered its first loss of the season on Saturday as the Rams fell on the road to FBS opponent Western Michigan 47-14. Women's soccer split a pair of matches against conference opponents this week. First, the Rams dropped a 1-0 match to LaSalle on Thursday before bringing home a convincing 3-0 victory over St. Bonaventure on Sunday. Volleyball was swept in its first conference series of the year against George Washington over the weekend, losing the first match 3-0 on Friday and falling 3-1 on Saturday. Finally, golf recovered from a tough opening round to finish in a tie for third place in the Yukon Invitational at Great Horse this week. That's all for this week's edition of the Rhody Sports Corner. To stay updated with all things URI athletics, follow us on X at @cigar_sports. Back to you, Nora.
Thanks, David. That's all we have for you this week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to follow us here and on Instagram at Rhody Cigar and pick up our print paper anywhere on campus to stay up to date with all your Rhody news. Find us online at rhodycigar.com. Until next time, I'm your host, Nora Kelley, and this is the Good 5 Cent Cigar Newscast. And as always, have a great week, Rhody.